What was the cringiest thing you did in your first relationship? We planned to the minute when our first kiss would be. Not too bad, right? We were both nervous and it was both of our first relationships. I made a website with a countdown clock. My first girlfriend told me that she would break up with me if I didn't tell her that I would break up with her if she didn't kiss me. So she wanted me to blackmail her into kissing me by having me threaten to break up. I wasn't going to break up with her if she didn't kiss me. So I refused to say that I would. So she broke up with me. Was walking her home anticipating kissing her for the first time at her doorstep and kept licking my lips because I didn't want to kiss her with a dry mouth. Halfway to her house she looks at me and says, "Stop doing that." I realized I probably looked really creepy. We were in 7th grade and had been dating for maybe 2 weeks. I printed a marriage certificate and showed it to her the first time she came over to my house. She called her mom and asked to go home immediately. We took a break, and I posted a video to Creep by Radiohead with the caption, "For that special someone." Ugh. I almost cringed off my chair writing this. First real girlfriend in high school. We used to talk over the voice calls on MSN Messenger late at night. She wanted to just hear my voice, and I very quickly ran out of things to say. So she said I should just read whatever book I had around. She spent the next 30 minutes listening to my "Your New Gateway Computer and How to Use It" booklet. I was 17. We had just had a fight. I drove to his house and blasted "Scars" by Papa Roach from my car and just stood awkwardly at the end of the driveway waiting for him to come out. I really wish this weren't true. Told her I loved her within the first 24 hours at the school parking lot. She wanted to give me my first BJ, which I was all for. I was unsure of etiquette, so I didn't give any warning for the finale. It caught her by surprise. She choked. Had an asthma attack from it. All I could do was pat the top of her head a couple times and say, "Thanks, champ." He French kissed me after eating a bacon double cheeseburger with onions and all sorts of other stinky stuff. I told him I had a bad experience with French kissing with a guy before him. Lies. He was my first kiss at V, and I would appreciate if he never did it again. Bonus cringe. I rubbed vapor rub near my eyes to make myself cry when I broke up with him and told him I was overwhelmed and needed to focus on school. I was in 8th grade. Had my first relationship at age 17. We were each other's first for everything. Basically only ever gave him handjobs cause he wasn't very hygienic. He insisted on keeping his underwear on, so I'd have to rub him over his boxers. He'd come inside his boxers and then leave them on for the rest of the day. The odd time he didn't have boxers on, he'd grab a sock and come inside of it and throw it in the laundry pile. His mom did all the laundry. So disgusting every time I think about it. She started to ignore me at school. This was like maybe 1 or 2 weeks after we started dating. I called her house like 6 or 7 times one afternoon after school until her mom picked up, who was basically furious because I had been calling. I explained to her that Alexa was ignoring my calls. I hear in the background, double quote, "Alexa, why aren't you answering the phone?" To which she responds, "Because he's weird and he just keeps calling." I hung up the phone and went to my room. I carved her name in my wall with a pen. I still cringe about it to this day. I hit my girlfriend with my car. It was a complete accident. We are still friends and it is a story that still comes up in conversation every now and then. I was super shy back in the day and I really liked this guy who had weirdly flirted with me in one of our classes. He told me I looked like some random celebrity when I wore my hair down and how hot she was, so I never wore my hair up again for the entirety of school. I replied later by slipping a note in his locker but didn't sign it. A few days after that, I threw in a t-shirt I thought he would like. He didn't know who it was from until weeks later when he finally wore it to school to see if anyone said something. My BFF at the time didn't. He realized it was me. Super creepy on my end. We ended up dating for a day before we broke up because we were stupid kids. Now, 15 years later. Reconnected and are now married. Sus totally worked as planned. Broke it off because I thought I was a stud. I was single about 3 years after that. Hell buddy. I broke up with a girl because I heard through the GRPV that another, in my opinion, prettier girl liked me. I went and asked her out. And she laughed in my face. Then I went back to my previous girl and Ray asked her out. She also laughed in my face. Walk of shame through the halls, man. Was giving him my first BJ and at the same time trying to figure out what I was going to do when he finished. P. On the other hand, unexpectedly finished in my mouth. No warning or nothing. I didn't like it, so I spit it out onto his chest. Broke up with her because my best friend told me to. We were perfectly fine together, but I guess I kinda worshipped the guy and his advice. He later tried asking her out when we split. We were all 14-15. My first girlfriend had really big tits and I remember sucking and lightly biting her nipples for a long time, and she finally said, double quote, "You know, I'd rather kiss you." I overstayed my welcome at the memory party. My roommate finally got her first boyfriend just before her 40th birthday. She sent him flowers at work on her birthday. He cancelled his date with her that night. And I had to stay up all night with her crying. I got us matching dog tags with our anniversary on it after dating for around 6 months and would secretly get very sad when he wouldn't wear his. He took me to Olive Garden and bought me that meat lovers lasagna. I'm pretty damn sure that's what it was called. And when we got back to his place, I wanted to show him how appreciative I was, so I gave him my first BJ. Turned out I was not ready for that job and threw up the entire lasagna on his penis. God help me, I can't believe I'm finally sharing this story. I used to take laps around the playground and slap stickers on her ass. I don't know what I was thinking. I remember the first time we held hands. She played football on her school team. So I made some comment about how even though I have bigger hands, I still find holding the ball kind of awkward, and asked her to show me how she held it. It was an elaborate ruse to make her hold her hand up so I could compare hand size and not so smoothly lace fingers as we put our hands back down. It was kind of cute. Minus the fact that I was sweating so much that she took her hand back 5 seconds later to wipe my sweat onto her pants. She was a good sport and held my hand again though. Tried to defend her honor. I got the shit kicked out of me by 3 guys. I earned cred for taking a beating. But she thought we should just be friends after witnessing that. We met playing WoW. She was level 60 and volunteered to run my character through a Scarlet Monastery while I was leveling. Her entire family referred to me as White Rabbit when I was not around, because that was my WoWchar name. We finally had sex when at a party at my friend's house whose parents were home. The mother knocked on the door and said, "What is going on?" We did not stop. A girl that I was about to start dating mentioned she really wanted to go to New Zealand at some point in her life, to a group of people. Not even just to me. So I immediately priced plane tickets and lodgings to New Zealand for a honeymoon. Then, unbelievably, before we had actually started dating, I told her I had priced our honeymoon. My defense was that if things did work out, New Zealand was so expensive I'd have to start saving then. We still dated, but only for about 2 months, and neither of us have been to New Zealand. Ugh. I had honestly forgotten this until I read this question. First date. To a movie. We see Titanic. Because that can only end well. We, as horny youngsters, aren't watching the movie, but instead making out and moaning in probably the 3rd row of a packed theater. It never made out before. I assumed moaning was involved. Ugh, so cringy and gross. I was so nervous on the way home. Being 14. His dad drove us to my house to drop me off. I leaned over to kiss him on the cheek. A quick peck and then I threw up his mom's fajitas all over myself. Started dating 3 months before sophomore year ended. Once summer started I completely ghosted her. Skipped to first week of junior year. I thought we were still together. You can imagine how she reacted when I approached her for a kiss. The shame is still real to this day. Talk on the phone every night until one of us fell asleep because I wanted to hear you breathe. Moment I'll never forget. Watching a movie with first girlfriend in my bedroom. I'm feeling frisky and start touching her. She moans a little and turns toward me, keeping her eyes closed. I take off her clothes, shirt, pants, bra, then she turned towards me and says words I'll never forget. Morning baby. Why the frick am I naked? The lady was asleep the entire time. Thank God I didn't try anything else except undressing her. I broke up with this chick and had told her the days before that I had really liked her. We made out and gave each other massive hikeys, so I got super embarrassed and had to end it after the whole school was laughing their asses off. I told her I'm sorry I lied and that I had a problem lying and that my parents were sending me to a psychiatrist to talk about why I always lie so much. So yeah, I lied about lying. His mom came to pick him up while we were in Walmart with our group of friends. So we awkwardly kissed goodbye at the entrance to the store. We were 14. I cringe at many things in that relationship. Back in the AOL chatroom days, she and I would press play simultaneously on a song from our bedrooms and type out the lyrics as we heard them. It was like singing, but different. My first relationship was with a girl I never met IRL and had just talked a few times and played a few LOL games with her. I called her sweetheart in game and told all my friends about her. I later found out she wasn't exactly my type, big surprise, and kinda ghosted her. I was just like 16 at the time, but I still hardcore cringe when I remember. Not just because of the relationship itself, but also because of the fact I ghosted this girl that I told all my friends, and her, that I really liked. Teenage years are the cringiest shit ever.